Mutual Plc released its full year results today. It showed, slide in pre-tax profits. We're joined on the line by the company chief executive, Julian Roberts. Big news, Julian, is that the dividend is up 16% in pounds terms for the year as a whole. You've just got out of an analyst presentation. Thank you for joining us now. What was the reaction like to that?
Afternoon, Alec. We've had a very good reaction to the results. I look across my office at my Reuters screen to see that the sterling price is up 4.6% today. So the market here in London and in South Africa has, I think, given a tick to the results.
Indeed. In South African terms, that's a hefty improvement in your dividend. How many shareholders do you have, given that you had hundreds of thousands at one point after the demutualization?
Yeah, the retail shareholders has come down quite significantly, so we're down to a few 100,000 now from, I think at one stage we were over 1 million. But yeah, South African shareholders, if you take today's rand exchange rate, get something like between 40 and 50% rise in dividends. So hopefully we'll have a lot of happy shareholders.
Well, hundreds of thousands of them for sure. The other big news to come out today is that you have made progress on the IPO of your US asset management business. You've been looking at that for a while.
Yes, I think probably most people say the worst kept secret. Yes, we've now decided that the business is in much better shape. The markets look good in the US, and every time that they want to make an acquisition, it hits our surplus capital. So with a listing, it will enable an alternative means of capital, because that US business, yes, it grows organically, but the model needs acquisitions in order to grow. So we start the process, hopefully subject to markets. The IPO will take place sometime this year.
Julian, will tapering have an impact on this IPO?
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. I think the US markets are pretty robust, and in fairness, I think everybody knows the tapering plan, so it shouldn't have.
The budget speech on Wednesday had a little bit of a surprise in it for the life insurance industry. Of course, South Africa is still a very big part of your business. That change in the taxation of risk businesses, is it going to have an impact?
Look, it's too early. As with every budget, there are positives and negatives coming out. So it's too early really for us to work through. You get a change in the taxation there, then you get the taxation benefit for small savings. So copying the ISA regimes, which will be good, and I'm sure will boost savings. So a bit early yet to work through.
Tell us about Africa. Is that your new growth story?
Well, we've got a growth story everywhere. One of the things that you may or may not have picked up is we have announced an acquisition in the UK to boost our distribution. So we will now have a broader distribution, a bit like South Africa. We'll have independent advisors, and we'll have what we call restricted, i.e. tied advisors. That business grew very significantly this year in the UK. Equally so, we've had good growth in Africa. People have been critical of our retail affluent business in South Africa. That had growth of 28% in single premiums. So, our businesses broadly, bar one, which I'm sure you'll ask me a question about, have been performing very well, and I'm very optimistic about them.
So tell us the bad news.
Mutual and Federal still struggles. We had the sector had a horrendous year for claims in 2012, and they were repeated in 2013. So weather claims, hail claims, started the year with drought, then we had some fire claims. So the industry has been impacted, and as well as that, our direct business it's progressing a little bit more slowly than we want. So we know the strategy we want to follow. We've boosted the management team, and I'm seeing the signs that we're heading in the right direction, but the performance was poor.
But the good news story, of course, is Nedbank. Is it now off the block, no longer for sale?
No longer for sale. No, you can see in some of the things that I am saying, the businesses, Nedbank, Mutual and Federal, and Old Mutual, have been collaborating more and more over the last year. And I think there is a significant amount of value we can get by those businesses working together, not just in South Africa, but also in the rest of Africa. So I want to expand into Africa, as a coordinated financial services group, not as individual businesses. And therefore, that's why I'm saying today that part of the remuneration for our executives in South Africa across those businesses will be in Old Mutual shares in an Old Mutual LTIP. The details to be worked through, but at some stage this year we will roll that out.